Well, hello guys. You probably recognize this Roadrunner hay squeeze. This is the one I built the Detroit in. Rebuilt the engine in. It was an outer frame. It was in very bad shape. Well, we got a problem. So, first of all, before I get into that, I just wanted you to realize how much brighter it is in the shop. And I'm not even completely done. Look at these LED lights. So, I had a Roadrunner hay squeeze like this outside the other day, and I was putting an AC hose in it. And it was kind of a tricky one. That other one had two evaporator cores. It had a lower evaporator and an upper evaporator, so it was kind of a tricky hose to build. But anyway, I was out there, and two guys pull up in a car, and they get out, and they said, you don't mind if... One of them worked for PP&L, and the other one was Dan. He owns a business down in Redding, California called LED Concepts. And they wanted to know if they could come in the shop and walk around, and they'd give me a quote for what it was going to cost me. Dan had given me a quote what would it cost me for materials for the lights, and then the guy that worked for PP&L says we'll give you a rebate and incentive. I said sure, go ahead, because I had gotten a quote from a guy in Klamath, and he quoted me like $5,000, and I thought it was just outrageous, and that was just for the materials. And I thought, man, what do you like? Are your lights made out of like space material or some shit, or what's the deal? Anyway, he emailed me a couple days and was like, with sales tax, it was like $1,700. And then I get like almost a $600 rebate. So basically, it cost me $1,100, and I got enough bulbs. So I got there's two back there in the corner too. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So basically, well, there's more than that. I'm not counting something here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's right. So 8 of those. So that's 16 of these long tubes, like this. You can see these tubes here. So, and then I got enough. I don't know. There's probably 20. No, quantity 16. There's 16 in there. So that'll do the office. I've got these changed out and wired. I've installed 4 high bays, and I've wired around. You got to take these ballasts loose. Well, you don't have to take them loose. You can leave them in there and just cut the wires. And basically, you just take your neutral wire and go across the ballast where it was wired around it, and wire to the other end, and take your hot lead and go to the other end on these single pin LED lights, the old style fluorescents. And I've got another one put in over there, and I can't believe the difference it made in here. Finally, I got a good enough deal, But anyway, I've replaced 2 of these, but he gave me enough bulbs to do the office. There's 8 in here, and there's going to be another 4. I think there's 2 of them in here. 4 bulbs there, so I got enough to do pretty much every light in here, and I think it's going to be pretty damn good. And then I might incrementally buy a few more of them LED high bays from Dan as time goes on to really lighten it up in here. It's pretty awesome. So anyway, I gotta go check on my update over here. I'm sorry, but we'll get on to what's going on with this Roadrunner. I got an update going on with my Texa unit here, so I'm gonna install it immediately. I got to get a hold of Cody and explain to him the special code adjustment type thing that you're supposed to do. But anyway, let's fire this squeeze up, and I'll show you what it's doing. It runs great, no blow by, no problems like that. Scared me at first when he was telling me about it, but then the more and more I looked at it, and I took the valve cover off already. It's got plenty of oil up on top. I talked to Jim in PA because I'd never seen this happen before. What's going on is the oil pressure needle's bouncing. Watch it. It's got a mechanical gauge in it. Give her throttle. Okay. I pulled the dipstick on it, and the dipstick was really clean, black with carboned up oil. But you know, as far as silver and looking in the oil, I didn't see any. We're going to find out in a minute because we're going to pull the plug. This is the engine. If you don't remember, I out of framed it. I sent the crank off and it was polished because I was a little skeptical because it spun a number 2 journal. I think it was. It spun it. The crank balancer was totally disintegrated and shot in it. The bearings had fell clear out of it. Other than that, we put new liners, pistons, rings, had the head redone, new cam bearings, all that good stuff. I mean, it's a new engine basically, and the turbo. It's got a new turbo on it too. So everything's new. You know, even the owner, he builds race car engines. He's very mechanically inclined. He could have done this job himself if he wanted to, but he was too busy. And anyway, he already put a mechanical gauge of his own on there to verify that it wasn't the gauge, and it's not. So I talked to Jim. Jim, really experienced guy. He says, you got 2 pressure regulators. He said there's something going on. Either the spool's stuck in one of those or the springs broke. So hopefully that's what's going on, because that's not too bad of a fix if that is. We got to dump the oil on it, drain the oil out of it, and pull the pan. And those 2 regulators, there's a high and a low, and they're on that balancer assembly. I don't see any shimmer at all in there. Get the light directly on it. Well, that looks good, so hopefully it's just a regulator. No chunks of anything in it. Yeah, dump the rest of the way out, but I don't see anything. I don't see anything in the pan. That's a good sign. Okay, let me get. I gotta get some oil absorbent towels and lay under there because it's still dripping underneath. Alright, well, let me kind of block some of that light, but there's one regulator back there that says 92 regulator, and this one here says relief pump or cooler side. So I got them on the right side. You would have known if you'd have had them on the right side or the wrong side from the beginning when you started the machine, because it wouldn't have been right. The oil pressure wouldn't have. This is relief pump or cooler side. So here's the pump, and it's coming suction on the pump. There's not even any material on the pickup screen. It looks nice and clean. So it discharges and relieves right here and here. So we got to pull these regulators apart and look at them real close. Alright guys, so we found the problem. And I'm gonna be, well, I don't want to get the viewers mad, but I get a lot of guys on here that are always harping on me about saying, well, I don't know why you just wouldn't put a reman in there. Why you rebuild them engines yourself? Well, I rebuilt this engine, but I put a reman balancer assembly on here. And here's the problem. There is the oil pump drive gear. I climbed under here, and actually, I'll see here. Look at the oil pan. Well, let me get a light of some kind. The oil pan was the only thing holding the damn gear on there. All this came as an assembly, and I bolted it on there. See the groove that it wore in the oil pan where the oil drive gear came forward, and that's the only thing that was holding that damn balancer gear on there was the oil pan. So after I tore the regulators apart, and see that those regulators were already on the balancer too. Okay, so because I went back in my parts room and I saved the old oil pump. Here's the old oil pump that come off of it. And see how that shaft, there's no keeper or nothing. That gear's pressed on there. So I climbed under here anyhow, because I didn't see anything wrong with the regulators. And I'm thinking, well, what the hell is going on with this thing? Why is it doing that? I said, there's got to be something going on with the oil pump. Well, here's the shaft. This gear, I was looking at it, and that gear was out there like that. And I could stick my finger in here, and I thought, well, that can't be right. And then I just grabbed it and wiggled it and popped it off of there. Just like that. So that oil pan saved the engine. That gear come up against that oil pan and grabbed it just good enough to make it turn just good enough to build oil pressure. So thank God. Thank God. Thank God the owner caught it when he did. So I'm going to tell you guys that are always telling about this reman stuff. That was a reman, a balancer assembly I bought for $1,700. And they're going to get a pretty good phone call. And here's my problem though, guys. Every time I call somebody about the reman junk that you put on your engine that you rebuilt or whatever, and it fails, like an injector that fails, or I had a reman set of injectors I bought one time. If I can buy new injectors, I want to buy new ones. And that's another thing, all you guys, don't they bench test injectors and rebuild them? I had an injector in a Cummins one time, and the truck went about 20,000 miles after I in-framed it, and it blew a tip off one of the reman junky piece of shit injectors we stuck in there and put a hole right through number 5 piston. And I had to in-frame the thing again because of their shit injectors. And you know what the outfit said? He said, we'll give you a new injector, but if you want us to cover the cost of the engine, you'll have to take us to court. That's why I don't even know if I'm going to call them, because I just don't know if it's any good. And guys, people just don't stand behind anything anymore. So I'll show you out here, because I know I have my skeptics, and that's okay. But I'm not too terribly upset because I don't see any silver in the oil. I think we got extremely lucky. Extremely lucky. So came outside here and the wind was blowing, and this new microphone really, you got to have that dead cat thing over the mic there. If not, it really distorts the sound. So anyway, the owner, thank God the owner, that's the old balancer that came out of it there. But the owner, thank God he got it and decided to load a truck, because, straight for him and his wife's mouth, if she goes, our guys, she goes, we harp on them and tell them to check fluids and watch gauges, and they just won't do it. She says that, he said that they'll just run it till it seizes up or till it blows up, and that's just what they do. And he said, if I fire them, I can't find anybody else to work for me, because nobody wants to work. So, everybody's kind of in a predicament trying to find good help. It's kind of a really crappy thing, really. But we really got lucky here this could have destroyed the engine. Thank God that oil pan is made the way and it's tied up against that gear train on the front, because just a little bit more and that gear could have come clear off the shaft and fell down in the pan. And this does have a oil pressure sensor, so the warning light would have come on, and maybe it would have shut it down. I think it'll shut it down, but I don't know if it would have saved it, or if they would have. Those guys probably would have kept trying to start it and run it, and until it damaged everything inside of it. But anyway, we really got lucky on this one, so I thought I would share this experience. You get to see the good and the bad here. Thanks for watching.